Hello, this is Eileen, the environmental educator, and in this video we're going to talk about this article here from Banned News Network. They're the most banned people in the world. They're not. I am. Okay. But this was from Real Clear Wire that Infowars ran. Here's the climate dissent you're not hearing about because it's muffled by society's top institutions. And so this is a pretty lengthy article here, and it goes on to just basically say that, you know, anybody who disagrees with the climate narrative that it's an emergency, it's going to be catastrophic if we don't just act soon, is silenced. And I mean, that's very true. They talk about a couple of Nobel Prize winning physicists, this guy here, John Clauser, who publicly disavows the existence of a climate crisis. He's the head of the nonprofit. The head of the nonprofit which he's affiliated, CO2 Coalition, has said he and other members have been delisted from Lincoln from their dissent views. Right here, another prominent climate dissenter, Robert Pielke Jr., Pelkey, he says that right here, there was a retraction published. Well, a top academic journal retracted published research doubting a climate emergency after negative coverage in the propaganda media. And this Robert Pielke said it's one of the most egregious failures of scientific publishing that I have seen. And it says that the climate dissenters are pressing their case as, you know, the White House, the United Nations, and climate action advocates in the media and academia argue that the settled science demands a whole-scale societal transformation, means having, you know, reducing carbon emissions significantly by 2030 and by 2050 net zero to prevent the existential threat of human-induced climate change. And last month, more than 1,600 scientists, among them 2 Nobel Physics laureates, signed a declaration stating that there is no climate emergency and that climate advocacy has devolved into mass hysteria. The skeptics say the radical transformation of entire societies is marching forth without a full debate based on dubious science claims amplified by knee-jerk journalism. Okay, so I mean, that basically sums up what this whole article says here. It comes down here and it talks about their arguments, you know, there is no climate crisis or existential threat. And, you know, I mean, that could be true, you know, that they talk about weather events. Okay, we all know geoengineering. But, you know, the thing is this is published by Infowars, who constantly rails, belittles any climate voice, okay, because climate change isn't real. Now, is global warming real? I tend to agree with global warming because, you know, every gallon of gas you burn emits 20 pounds of carbon dioxide. Okay, and that all goes into the troposphere, which on global average extends 7.5 miles over your head. So how is it not warming? Okay, is it a current crisis that we can't get our way out of? That is beyond my knowledge. Okay, but my work goes way beyond if climate change is real or not. If we just lived responsibly, we would end so many of those emissions, and we would, more importantly, end the toxins and chemicals that get into our air and our water and our soil and our bodies and cause so many problems. Not to mention that it's just irresponsible to be a disposable society 24/7, 365 around the world. Endless processes are working so that you can have a disposable cup for 10 minutes and then make it disappear. And that's just irresponsible. We can live responsibly. Hemp would alleviate so many problems. Okay, gaining individual cooperation, just turning off electricity. Right now, that's happening just only because of electric prices, because people are feeling the pinch in their household budgets. So for budgetary constraints, they're becoming more responsible in turning off unused electricity. They are not impacting their life at all, okay, in terms of, how they live their everyday life. But it's doing a lot of good in not having emissions and not burning all that coal. And then all that coal isn't mined and all that coal isn't transported in a gazillion processes for it to just be wasted. So if we just lived responsibly, we could solve these problems. Now, the issue is, right here, this is Infowars. All the independent media just does nothing but mock anything having to do with the planet because climate change isn't real, okay? So they're very limited. They're Archie Bunker staunch, stubborn, and what they're willing to learn even. And more importantly, they're journalists who are supposed to be putting out good information. And they muffle the biggest important environmental news that the world needs, that it's very easy to just meet goals, okay, and live sustainably and not go through all of this hysteria. Now, right here, this is Mike Adams on Alex Jones, and let's listen to this.
Those are the kind of tactics that the enemy would do. But you and I will use technologies to empower people with truth, to awaken people to reality, and to build a sustainable civilization future. This is a critical...
Okay, except the problem with that is they won't. Okay? Here, this is Natural News. This was February 20th, 2023. Thank you for your interest in Natural News, but we do not feel that you and Natural News are a good fit. Now, Natural News has prevented good environmental information for a long time. This is the most recent. Okay, right here. This is, I just showed tips at Infowars. This is just from January of 2020. And these are the times that I've emailed them. I even think it's more than this. I tried searching. The only reply I have ever gotten from Infowars is Leanne McAdoo, back when she was there, was like, stop bothering me. She's like, I'm on your side, but just stop sending me emails. She's not going to go out and go against the Infowars crew and be like, hey guys, why don't we deliver good information? But, or I'm assuming, okay? I don't know what her position was. I was kind of searching for that email tonight. I couldn't find it, but believe me, I have it. That's the only reply I've ever gotten, except for when I actually called into Alex Jones. This was, 12, 15 years ago. And the guy just mocked and ridiculed me. And my website was down because I was getting attacked so much, okay? And every time I got attacked, it cost me a lot of money to have pros go in and clean things up. I mean, my host would even shut down my website because it was attacked so bad. And maybe that's even why I had the time to call in, okay? But I was just getting attacked so bad and it was crazy. And I work in the tourist industry behind illegals and invaders and green card whores and, visa overstays. And so it's a sweatshop. Okay. So it was very costly to get this mess cleaned up all the time. And Alex Jones just ridiculed me, but he's like, well, send me some information when you get things going. I mean, he was just really ridiculing me. And I mean, since then, I have sent them a ton. But will Infowars give you good information, not muffle the information that would, be a better argument against all of this hysteria just by putting out the agenda that we need to do what Mike Adams just said that he and Alex are going to do? So one more time here.
Those are kind of tactics that the enemy would do. But you and I will use technologies to empower people with truth, to awaken people to reality, and to build a sustainable civilization future.
Okay, there is no bigger sustainable future than ending our disposable society and utilizing hemp. And yet, for all their criticism of climate skeptics not getting press, okay, they will not give actual real solutions that would shut these environmental voices and all of this hysteria up way faster than a bunch of a bunch of scientists, even if they are Nobel Prize winning people, because we all know that's not maybe what the world used to believe it to be. Just look at some of the Nobel Prize winners, okay? But they will not give you good information. But they're outraged that their propaganda, that their side of global warming isn't real, isn't out there in the press. Whereas if they were real news people, they would happily give you this information. And as I've said before in a ton of my videos, it's Mike Adams, it's Alex Jones, Infowars, it's Alex Newman, it's Greg Hunter, it's Rebel News, it's Sean at the SGT Report, Lisa Haven, Dave Hodges, there is a bunch of them. Luke Radkowski, We Are Changed, Dan Hicks, Press for Truth, just a ton of them. Greg Greenwald will not give you good information. And so we have this hysteria and we have tyranny coming down our backs because Mike and Alex will not take you to a sustainable world, and they muffle, they censor the most important environmental news out there, regardless if they're out here shedding tears because people presenting their very limited information that global warming's not real doesn't, get the mainstream media. So stay tuned, people.